Hello everyone, my name is María Omaña and I'm mastering advanced communicational competencies by the CASE method. First of all, I will talk about some relevant terminologies in this case as backward integration, strategic planning, critical input, future growth, and merger. Now, backward integration. It is when a company buys another company that supplies the products or services needed for production. So they create a supply chain to not depend on another company. The companies that have a supply chain have that group of individuals, organizations, resources, activities, and technologies involved in the manufacturing and sale of a product. One example of this could be Apple Inc. and Carnegie Steel. Apple produces its software products and Carnegie Steel produces electronic devices and computer systems. And when they joined, it's Apple company with its advanced products and technology at a more rapid pace. On the other hand, our next terminology is strategic planning. Strategic planning it is a process in which an organization's leaders define their vision for the future and identify their organization's goals and objectives, and normally represents mid to long-term goals with a lifespan of 3, 5, or more years. Also, these plans can be easily shared, understood, and followed by various people, including employees, customers, business partners, and investors. Hence, strategic planning can affect changing business, industry, legal, and regulatory conditions, so strategic plans may be updated and revised at the time to reflect any strategic changes. For example, Tesla took complete control of their supply chain by investing in battery manufacturers because they wanted to be the biggest car company in the world, and they focused on creating the most luxurious, expensive, fully featured sports cars. They studied and adapted to the industry and business environment they would operate in and reach their goals. They knew their strengths, understood their market position, and built their strategy around their own finding instead of following conventional wisdom. In another way, our next terminology is critical input. Critical input are any resources used to create goals and services. This includes workers' time, fuel, materials, buildings, and equipment. So, to build a good business, we need to have input. Further, we have another terminology, future growth. Future growth is an organization's future ability to generate larger profits, expand its workforce, and increase production. It will depend on leaders' expectations for success and the quantitative and qualitative measures used to determine expansion rate lines. Now, our last terminology to start talking about PepsiCo case is merger. Mergers are a way for companies to expand their reach, expand into new segments, and gain market share. This is a voluntary fusion of two companies. One example of this is Disney, Pixar, and Marvel. Disney acquired profitable companies as Pixar and Marvel, and these companies bring to Disney new public and billions of dollars. Now we'll start with PepsiCo Foods in Peru more than small potatoes. 12 years ago, in Lima, Peru, Indra Nooyi, the chairman and CEO of PepsiCo, announced the creation of the Agricultural Development Center of Peru, SEDAP, It's important to know that PepsiCo is the largest food and beverage company in North America and the second largest in the world behind Nestle. But here we will answering some questions that you want to hear. First of all, why would PepsiCo help farmers? Well, PepsiCo is a global company that gives good jobs to its team. PepsiCo respects human rights, improves farmer livelihoods, secure and supply. So that gives to Peruvian farmers the opportunity to have an inclusive and supportive work culture. On the other hand, is this a critical input long term? The answer is yes. Frito-Lay is a chips brand and its critical input are potatoes. So PepsiCo applied backward integration with this agricultural center in order to develop their new healthier varieties of potatoes by itself, and it doesn't need to have another supplier because they are developing its own resources. Similarly, is this a competitive industry? The answer is yes. Strategic planning is a terminology known by PepsiCo. PepsiCo is one of these main strategies. PepsiCo has some main strategies as cost leadership and broad differentiation. Cost leadership focuses on cost minimizations as a way to improve PepsiCo's financial performance and overall competitiveness. And broad differentiation, they attract consumers to some unique features on the firm's products. For example, PepsiCo's Lay's potato chips are marketed as a healthful snack product because of reduced saturated fat content. In the same way, why is breeding new varieties a good idea? Because breeding new varieties of potatoes help PepsiCo's sales. Just in Peru, PepsiCo's Frito-Lays contributed over 60% of sales. Also, PepsiCo focused on developing potatoes varieties that were adaptable to temperate zones, and with that, the company expected its future growth. How did PepsiCo first come about? PepsiCo Inc. took its name in 1965 when Pepsi-Cola Company merged with Frito-Lay, and PepsiCo continued doing mergers with profitable companies as Lipton, Gatorade, Tropicana, and other brands, and these mergers make PepsiCo the second largest food and beverage in the world. Finally, balancing short-term revenue versus long-term. Well, set up and its leaders continue to wrestle with how to balance short-term revenues with long-term goals. But after that worry, they identified how to maintain the momentum and move forward and beyond